Hi parents, Peter Liciaga here, and I thought I'd come live and share with you something that, actually a conversation that I had with a couple of parents, and also today Master Donato and I were talking about this earlier this morning in our meeting. And of course, if you want to find out what we're doing at Donato Karate Center, give us a call, 856-235-0414, or go to our website, donatokarate.com. Pardon me. Okay, guys. So the conversation basically is this: parents will come up to us and they want their child to get disciplined, focused, and really to have the confidence to do the right thing. And all parents want that. We all want that. And there are times where we'll have parents come in and a child does not want to do something, but the parent will make sure the child does what they're supposed to do because simply it's the right thing to do, and the parent is actually parenting that child in a very purposeful way, in a very direct way, in a very confident way. So it's exciting to see. But also, sometimes we do have parents that come in that are there's certain things that they do that creates in a child that's ultimately going to be mentally weak, not mentally strong. And of course, martial arts helps one to be strong, not only physically, but also, more importantly, mentally and also emotionally. So this is something that we work hard on with our children. We partner up with the parents as best as possible so that we all work together to empower the child to be mentally, emotionally, and physically strong. And there's certain things that mentally strong kids possess that parents are very purposeful in building in their child. And so there's an article that I found that I want to share with you. And the writer here wrote a book called 13 Things Mentally Strong People Don't Do. And so she had written an article, and I want to read that article to you. It's a very short article. It's 13 things here, so I want to go through them quickly. And I'll read them, then I'm going to share my thoughts based on my experience as a parent and as a martial arts instructor working with children and parents for almost 20 years now at Donato Karate Center. Of course, if you want to find out more about me or Donato Karate Center, go to donatokarate.com. Anytime along this conversation that I share with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts. You can text me your thoughts here, 856-278-5282, or you can leave the comments right below. And I want to read this to you guys, and it's important, and I believe it's important. I want to be the best parent that I can be, the best teacher that I can be. Now, I'm going to tell you what I tell my own children. I don't know everything. Just like you guys, I'm trying to figure it out. Right now, I have an 18-year-old and a 15-year-old, and we've gone through those many years already. So our kids basically what I call self-managing. Of course, my son is 15 years old. We still have to guide and direct him. But our daughter, 18 years old, even though we're there as a confidant with our daughter, she's basically making her own decisions for the most part. And but I'm still trying to figure things out. My wife and I, we're not perfect. We'll make mistakes. We get a lot more right than wrong, but we're just like you guys trying to figure things out. So I thought I'd share this with you. Mentally strong kids have parents who refuse to do these 13 things. And number one is this: condoning a victim mentality. And it says here, striking out at the baseball game or failing a science test doesn't make a child a victim. Rejection, failure, and unfairness are simply a part of life. Refuse to attend your kids' pity parties. You gotta remember that, guys. Kids start acting up. Refuse to give any attention to them having self-pity on themselves. Teach them that no matter how tough life gets or unjust their circumstances are, they can always take positive action. And this is a mindset that I take on myself, and then I teach my children, my kids, and I teach them through my example and how I live, how I act, how I speak. And it's the same thing we do at Donato Karate Center. What we teach our students, we lead by example, always striving for excellence and always looking for how can we overcome this situation? Looking for the positive aspect. Where's the lesson here? What can we do to move forward? And I am not the person that will stop and ask the why this happened to me, why this, why that, how come it always turns. That's not the kind of person that I am. And our students will let you know that when they come to me and they start complaining and whining about how rough their day is, and I'm not talking about just sharing so you can get something off your chest and just sharing for the sake of sharing so that you can move forward, but whining. And you parents know what I'm talking about. We need to make sure that we do not let them embrace this victim mentality. Why always me? Why is this happening to me? No, our children cannot see themselves as victims, but as victors, that they are overcoming and they will be victorious. This is what we teach our students at DKC. This is what I want to teach my children. This is what I want to teach anyone that comes in contact with me, that by choice we decide to learn the lesson and move forward, that we will overcome. So number 2 here says parenting out of guilt. Okay, giving into guilty feelings teaches your child that guilt is intolerable. And kids who think guilt is horrible won't be able to say no to someone who says, be a friend and let me copy your paper. In school, that is, right? Or if you loved me, you would do this for me. Okay, and so show your kids that even though you feel guilty sometimes, and all good parents do, we all do have those moments of guilt. I do, we all do. Hey, we're still doing the best that we can. We have not arrived. So I get that. I'm not there yet. I don't know everything. We don't know everything. But you're not going to allow your uncomfortable emotions to get in the way of making wise decisions. Now, there are times I'm going to feel guilty. Sometimes, oh, did I spend enough time? Did I say that right? Maybe I said it wrong, put my foot in my mouth, and maybe I just totally messed up. I'm not going to allow this guilt to get in the way of me moving forward and making wise choices. So we want to make sure that we are mindful of that as we strive to build mentally strong children. Number 3 is making their kids the center of the universe. I cannot tell you how many times I'll see parents come in and their child is like the center of everything, evolves around that child. And I get that. Gosh, I mean, it's nothing, like especially with our firstborn, Alexandra, when she came into the world, it was like, oh my gosh, this is the most amazing thing. And it is. However, we have to remember as parents, we are to nurture and raise up the child, our child, in the way they should go, because we are really preparing them for the world that they will go into, not the world that we're going to create when they're little babies. And so we have to keep that in mind. And there's a time where we have to realize that, that child, our child, is not the center of the universe. There are other people out there, and we have to help teach our children to be aware of that. This is what it says here. If you make your entire life revolve around your kids, they'll grow up thinking everyone should cater to them. And I see children like this all the time. Okay, and self-absorbed, entitled adults will not get very far in life, and they will not be happy. They will always have this sense that they are entitled to everything and anything they want. And you guys know what I'm talking about. We're seeing a lot of that. So teach your kids to focus on what they have to offer the world. Focus on their gifts, their talents, and what they can bring to the world, bring to the family, bring to the community. Okay, and instead of having them looking to see what they can gain from the world. Okay, giving to the world is supposed to taking from the world. Number 4 is allowing fear to dictate their choices. And we need to make sure that our decisions are not based on fear to the point where it stops us from doing the right thing. Now, fear is a very important factor in our ability to really to stop, take a pause, and move forward cautiously. However, once we put our experience, our knowledge and wisdom, life experience and wisdom and knowledge against a problem, a solution, we have to say, okay, this is the way we've got to go. Let us not allow out fear, because it will be fearful. Sometimes it's going into the unknown, but you do the best that we can. We do the best that we can. I do. I'm not perfect. I mess up, and there's that fear. Sometimes I mess up and I'll totally screw up really, really bad, and I still got to move forward. But there's this fear. We cannot let that fear happen. And so, although keeping your kids inside in a protective bubble, which we parents would like to do, will spare them of a lot of adversity and anxiety, but playing it too safe and allowing our children to be safe all the time, teaches them that fear must be avoided at all times. We need to teach our children to really be courageous and brave, and to get out, to go out, experience and learn, and let them know that, no matter what happens, we can overcome it. They can overcome it. And we need to help instill courage and bravery in our children. Again, mentally strong kids have parents that refuse to allow their kids to allow fear to dictate their choices. Number 5 is giving their kids power over them. Parents of kids that are mentally strong refuse to allow their kids to have power over them. Letting kids dictate what the family is going to eat for dinner or where the family is going on vacation gives kids more power than they are developmentally ready to handle. So there's a developmental consideration here. The age of the child, of course, progressively. Right now, I can sit down with my 15-year-old and my 18-year-old, and I could get feedback from them. But at the end of the day, if I decide I want to go somewhere as a family, we're going to go, I'm going to go. I will make the decision. Now, of course, they're at the age at 15 or 18, respectively. They can decide maybe to go or not go. That's their prerogative because they're at that age. But a 3-year-old, a 6-year-old, 8-year-old, that age group, I say not. Okay, parents, there's a lot of consideration with the age. So, give your kids to practice, taking orders, taking direction, okay, and listening to things they don't want to hear. They've got to practice hearing things they don't want to hear. We've got to empower them. That will build mental strength. If they got to sit down and listen to things they don't want to hear, hey, look, son, daughter, this is what's going to happen. This is what we're going to do. They may express how they don't want to do it. I said, I understand you don't want to do it, but we're going to do it anyway. And you're going to do it with us. We've got to lead and guide and direct them with this, because we need to let them know that we have the leadership here. We will empower them measurably, respectively, age appropriately, based on their mental development. However, we will lead, guide, direct. And we have the ultimate power of choice simply because we've lived a longer life. We have more life experience. And doesn't mean we know everything. Does not mean we're going to make a mistake. They might be right. But we need to make sure that we confidently move forward. We lead the way for our children. Okay, number 6, expecting perfection. And I'll see this often. Expecting your kids to perform well is healthy, but expecting them to be perfect will backfire. Teach your kids that it's okay to fail, and it's okay not to be great at everything they do. This is so important. A lot of times I'll see parents, especially when they start at DKC, when they come to Denial of Karate Center for the first time, we'll see parents that really expect their kid to be perfect right away. I mean, they're doing something new for the first time, but yet they still expect them to get it right. And then the child will try something, and right away, then you look at that parent for the approval, and then you'll see the parent rolling their eyes and shaking their head and doing these gestures like this, or listen like this here, and child's always looking for approval. Parents, our children, just like us, are doing the best that they can. Now, when they do something new, like us, they'll do the best that they can, and they're going to mess up. We're going to mess up. They got to mess up. That's how they'll learn. But we have to encourage them to let them know, hey, you're going to mess up. You're going to fail at times. But if you learn the lesson, you'll become wiser, and then you'll get better, as long as you don't give up. So don't let you failing or messing up, and the fact that you're not perfect, you're going to mess up, but doesn't mean it's over. You're going to learn. And so there was a period of time in my life, I had to, I started giving myself the permission to mess up. I remember when I started videotaping myself, and like videos like this, one of my mentors many years ago said, Peter, look, I just want you to start doing it. And then accept the fact that the first 100 videos you do, the first 500 you do are going to stink. So give yourself the permission to stink. It's okay. Pat yourself on the back, learn the lesson, move forward, get better and better and better. So when a parent brings their child to our school for the first time to do martial arts, I encourage the parent, whenever your child looks at you, give them 2 thumbs up and smile and give them a nod, like giving them, well done, you're doing great. They're doing great. Why? Because they're not giving up. They might be messing up. They don't know anything. They're falling all over the place. Maybe they don't have their balance. Maybe they're not strong enough. But you celebrate the fact that they're in the game. They're on the mats. They're doing the best that they can, and they're not giving up because they're not perfect. So we have to be very, very careful of that. So mentally strong kids will have parents that refuse to have their child think that they have to be perfect. They encourage their kids. They let the kids know they're going to fail, they're going to mess up, and learn a lesson. Number 7, letting their kids avoid responsibility. Letting kids skip out on chores or avoid getting an after-school job can be tempting. After all, you likely want your kids to have a carefree childhood. I know what that's like. But kids who perform age-appropriate duties aren't overburdened. Instead, they're gaining the mental strength they need to become responsible citizens. Now, parents, one day our children are going to go into the world and either be an asset to the world or a liability. We need to train them to be assets in the world. So we need to train them to be responsible. When? As soon as possible. I don't know what's possible for your child, but I say as soon as possible. So make sure you're being very thoughtful and very decisive and very purposeful with your ability to train your child to be responsible. And it's always age appropriate. So I don't know what's possible for a 2-year-old. For your 2-year-old, I know my kids started martial arts at 2 years old, and they did it. We have kids starting 3.5 years old at Donato Karate Center. By the way, if you want to find out about our schedule and see what those times are for your 3.5-year-old, go to donatokarate.com or call us 856-235-0414. But start your children as soon as possible, being responsible. Start small and then build, progress with that. Okay, next thing here, number 8, shielding their children from pain. Hurt feelings, sadness, and anxiety are a part of life, and we know that. We cannot avoid disappointment. We cannot avoid anxiety. We cannot afford sadness or things that just simply hurt our feelings. People will say things that will hurt our feelings. People will do things that will hurt our feelings. We need to build mental strength and resilience, and we need to help our children with that. And so parents who refuse to do this will build a mentally strong child. So make sure you keep that in mind. Okay, guys, so I'm moving forward here. I got 1, 2, I'm at number 9. And if you guys have any thoughts, any ideas, things that you want to add to the list, or if you disagree with something, share it in the comments section below, or you can actually, if you don't want to do it publicly, you can send it to me directly. And 856-278-5282 is my text right here. This is the number. You text it here. If you call, you can call. You'll get a machine because I don't answer the phone unless it's either my wife, my children, or Master Donato. But you could text me and I will respond to the text. I like the texting because it gives us an opportunity to take a moment to really take time and text our thoughts, and then we send them. So make sure you do that. Okay, guys. So number 9, feeling responsible for their kids' emotions. There are parents that really feel personally responsible for how their child is feeling. Cheering your kids up when they're sad and calming them down when they're upset means you take responsibility for regulating their emotions. Kids need to gain emotional competence so they can learn to manage their own feelings. Parents, we need to let kids take responsibility for their emotions, and we need to help them manage their emotions and process their emotions. And many times I'll have parents come in and they'll say, you know what, can you please talk to my child? You know, they have this anger management issue, and you know, they slam things, they hit me, and all this. And we need to, you know, help them take responsibility for those emotions. And that's very important. And we've got to be proactive in teaching our children healthy ways to cope with their emotions. And that we do that at DKC. There's many times I'll see children act up and get emotional on the floor, and I will take a pause. I'll make sure the other instructors, we have plenty of instructors that can help facilitate the class. We have a great student-teacher ratio. So I'll take one of the students that are maybe acting, getting maybe emotional. I'll take them off to the side, and then I will first find out what's going on. Then I will start giving them some key things that they can do to cope with those emotions, giving them coping skills and tactics and strategies. This way they can do it themselves. And I'll do it as young as 3.5 years old, and I'll do it in a age-appropriate way so that they can understand. You know, but we got to help our children be responsible for their emotions. Number 10 is preventing their kids, parents who have mentally strong kids. They don't do this. They don't prevent their kids from making mistakes. Our children are going to make mistakes. We make mistakes. But that's how we learn. My greatest lessons in life, and I shared this a couple of months ago in a video. I created a timeline. I looked at the highs of my life, the great, awesome stuff that happened in my life, and then really those dark valleys of my life. And I wrote down everything that was the highs and the lows. And then I stood back and I looked at it. I put it up on the wall, all these little stickums with the highs and lows of my life. So this was my timeline of my experience. And then I looked at that. I stood back and looked, and I asked myself this question: where did I learn the most valuable lessons in my life? And you know what? It was with every challenge, every valley experience I had, I learned the most valuable lesson. And I share about my mistake, my failure as a father, my success as a parent, and my success as a teacher came because of my dark valley experience when I screwed up as a father. The way I am now as a teacher and as a father came from that experience. So making mistakes, we don't want to make mistakes. I will do the best that I can personally to avoid making mistakes, but I'm not perfect. I don't have all the answers, so I'm going to mess up. We have to allow our children to make mistakes. We parents are so quick to jump in when we see them making a mistake, when we know a child's going to fall down and get a little ouchy boo-boo, and we're going to try to prevent them from doing that. Hey, a little scrape, a little bruise now and then, it's not bad. They learn from that. Of course, we don't want them to break an arm or worse. We want them to be safe. However, we need to allow them to have the space to make mistakes. From schoolwork, and many parents that will double check their kids' schoolwork and make sure that schoolwork, based on their help, is an A. I think that's a mistake. Let your child do it. Encourage them to go back and check it and check it and check it. But maybe the best thing that will happen to that child is that they get a D or an F. And then they come home with this F, and then you say, what's going on here? What did you do? Then you have them experience the failure. Let them experience the mistakes that they made. You know what? I should have spent more time on work. I did it so fast and I wanted to go out and play, and I should have spent more time. Let them make the mistakes. We parents need to allow that to happen, because right now, when they're 3 years old, 6 years old, even at 15 years old, this is as safe as it gets, really. Once they get out into the world, ready or not, they're going to have to be able to process the ability to mess up and then bounce back. And I heard a couple of days ago from a friend of mine named Ed. He says, you know what? It's not only about getting up. You hear this saying, fall down once, get up again. Fall down 7, get up 8. There's that saying that goes on there. But it's not about just getting up. Okay, because some people fall down and they'll get up, but it takes them such a long time to get up. Sometimes it'll take them hours, days, weeks. Sometimes people will go years before they get right back up. So it's not about getting up. It's about how fast you can get up. So if your child can mess up and make a mistake, but yet bounce back as quick as possible, learn the lesson and move forward, wouldn't that be awesome? Wouldn't that be empowering? We want to have a child that has that mental capacity to be strong, to make a mistake and bounce right back. And moving on, let's go back here. We'll go to number 11, confusing discipline with punishment. Punishment involves making kids suffer for their wrongdoing. However, discipline is about teaching. And I spoke about this a couple of days ago. Discipline is about teaching. Okay? Teaching what's right, what's wrong, and if we can teach them the lesson, that's discipline. So punishment, it's not so much about punishment because that involves suffering. There are consequences to our actions. When we mess up, there are consequences. When our child messes up, there are consequences. But it's not about the punishment. It's about the lesson that needs to be learned. Okay, that's the discipline. And so that's so important. Raising a child who fears getting in trouble or making mistakes isn't the same as raising a child who wants to make good choices. Use consequences that help your child develop the self-discipline they need to make better choices. Okay, number 12, taking shortcuts to avoid discomfort. Although giving into a whining child or doing your kids' chores for them will make your life a little easier in that moment. However, those shortcuts will instill unhealthy habits in your child. We need to make sure that, I get it, parents, I get it, I know. Sometimes it's just simple just to give the kid the candy. It's just easy just to give them that electronic device because they're yelling and screaming. But when we we take those shortcuts, we really are setting them up to not have the discipline to persevere, not have the discipline to process what needs to be processed during this moment of discomfort. And we need to take the time, or we need to learn the skill sets to be able to communicate with our child so that they can help process them through that moment. So let's avoid these shortcuts, parents. We need to minimize them. Hey, we all do it. We're not perfect. We're not going to get it right all the time, but let's be mindful and purposeful and keep in mind that we want to raise up a child in the way they should go. Okay, and sometimes that moment of discomfort, will set us up or set them up for long-term discomfort. So let us sacrifice in that way, our discomfort and teach our child the way they ought to go. Okay, guys, we need to be disciplined. We need to be strong. We need to have mental strength, parents, so that we can raise them up in the way they should go. So do not take shortcuts and avoid discomfort. Okay, guys. Number 13, the last one here, guys. I appreciate you for spending the time. Then I'll wrap it up real quickly. But I definitely wanted to share this with you guys there. Of course, if you have any ideas or thoughts and you want to share something, please share. Either comments below or you can text me, 856-278-5282. But the last one here, losing sight of their values. Parents who raise mentally strong kids. This is number 13 of something that parents who raise mentally strong kids will not. They refuse to do. They refuse to lose sight of their own values, their core beliefs, what they know is right, what they stand on, what they believe in, their values. Okay, many parents aren't instilling the values they hold dear in their children. Instead, they're so wrapped up in the day-to-day chaos of life that they forget to look at the big picture. It's not in that moment that's happening in that moment. We have to always keep mindful of the big picture based on our values. So make sure your priorities accurately reflect the things you value most in life, and you'll give your children the strength to live a meaningful life. So parents, this is something that I have a passion about. This is what I teach at DKC as a martial arts instructor. This is what I want to model as a parent to my children and model as a citizen of the community. Parents, these things, again, I want to make sure that I serve and I I encourage, inspire, and motivate everyone. So parents, we need to motivate our kids to be mentally strong because life demands it. And we want to do all that we can to raise up our children the way they should go, because ready or not, they're going to go into life. And ready or not, we're not going to be there. And they need to be able to handle life, ready or not. And we, as parents, as teachers, need to do all that we can to raise up this child in the way they should go. There's no promise that we're going to see the fruit of that in the moment. But the promise is this, and this, I truly believe this is one of my core values, that if I raise up my child the way they should go when they are old, they will not depart from that truth, that wisdom. Okay, because truth is truth. They will get that to that point in their life where they will be confronted with a challenge, and they will reflect on the lessons that was passed on to them by their parents and their teachers. But more importantly, the lesson that was passed on through action, not words. And I always say this, let my actions teach, but let my words bring understanding. So parents, I just want to let you guys know, I appreciate you for spending the time with me here. I hope you guys have a great day. Any questions, please comment. You can send them to me through the comments, or you can text them to me, 856-278-5282. If you want to find out about the martial arts program that we teach at Donato Karate Center, find about anything about that, go to donatokarate.com, connect with me, call us there at 856-235-0414. Master Donato, Mrs. Donato, or even myself will be more than happy to share about our program with you. We'd love to talk to you about your child. We'd love it even better if you are considering martial arts for your child, to call us, make an appointment, or go to our website, sign up for our basic beginner trial, which is only 3 classes for like $20. We make it so easy. But more importantly, give us a call, 856-235-0414, and let's schedule a time for you to come in. We love to meet with you person to person. I'd love to meet with you in person so you can meet me, see our school, and we can really talk seriously about how we can empower your child and build them to be mentally strong. Okay, parents, so thank you for this time. Guys, let me see who came on here. Let me go back here, see who's come up on here. Excellent. So good. So guys, you have a great day. Talk to you guys soon. Signing off right now. Take care.